Okay, comments are always weird for me because with the two channel, if I'm signed into one channel, I don't get comments from the other one. You know, I don't get notifications. Even on the one channel, I don't hardly get notifications at all. But I had uploaded a video to the Ghost channel, so I happened to look through some of the comments, and it was the one before that I had done was to do with the shortage of reloading supplies. But somebody made a comment in here that I think is way he's not paying attention, evidently. Said the NRA is the biggest problem with the shortage of they will take your guns boogeyman bullshit, right-wing ridiculousness. Okay, never been in the NRA, I have no interest in that. I don't get involved in that sort of thing. But there's nothing ridiculous about them wanting to take your guns away. They have stated this publicly over and over again. The problem is they have to do it incrementally. But they're going to do it. I mean, they really want to do it. Right now, there's two bills where they're really trying to do it. And if you know anything about history at all, these things go in a progression. You know, they claim right now that they want to do background checks. You know, you have to do a background check, and every gun you buy, you have to do a background check, or almost everyone. Even some of the guns that technically wouldn't require it, I still end up doing a background check for. You know, if a gun is an antique gun, technically you don't have to do that. It's not really a firearm, considered to be a firearm, and I have some that fall in that category. But I did a background check anyway. Now, when they say background check, they say, you know, like when they do surveys, you know, and they say 90% of people want background checks. Well, everybody wants background checks. What they don't want is this new type of background check that they're trying to push now, that they're trying to kind of slip in by you, which will technically be a registration. Because this is something that there's a progression to this, that once you start having to register guns, the next logical step is confiscation. And this has happened over and over again in other places. That's why it's in our Constitution. That's, you know, because this could happen very easily. And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, they are, to them, this Constitution is a constant thorn in their side. I know the one day Pelosi was saying, well, it's, you know, this having to do the background checks, he said, that's not unconstitutional. You know, she said the Constitution doesn't prohibit a certain degree of control in this. But it is that narrow end of the wedge. You know, if they start making a database of gun owners, because part of this, if you look at the fine print, and that's what you really have to look at, and they'll never bring this up, you know, but there's a lot of little things involved here, you know, like where you store your guns, how you store your guns, how much ammunition, all this stuff. This is all coming. If they don't put a stop to it now, this is all coming. And then the next logical step after that is confiscation. So it is no boogeyman thing. It is definitely what they want to do. But this thorny Constitution keeps getting in their way. But if they can get around it, which is what they're trying to do now, they will not hesitate to do it. Now, you got to hope, you know, balanced the way things are at the moment in the House and the Senate, both, especially in the Senate, that there's enough of these Democrats that will see what's going on, that will be aware of this and put a stop to it. Because, you know, in theory, I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to do this, and they're going to do this, you might as well do it now. Let them do it as hard as they can, because then people will just revolt. If people actually are aware of what they're trying to do, that'll be an end to it all. You know, because otherwise it's like the frog in the boiling water, you know, where you slowly turn the heat up and the frog is fine until the frog is cooked. That's what they're doing. But you have to look at the fine print of these things, and that's almost impossible to do because, you know, there again, they can't make a simple bill. They have to make this long, huge conglomeration with all these little loopholes in it for them to pull crap later. So that's going to happen. It is not some NRA boogeyman thing. And if you aren't aware of that, you better start looking, because that is exactly what they want to do. But, you know, history has shown this. Every time this happens, it only goes one way. You know, even where they want to, okay, you know, they want to license you, that you have to have a gun, you know, and all this stuff. It always makes me think back when I was a little kid. Next to the school we were going to was this little general store. And this was like in the 50s, into the 60s, though the sign is probably still sitting there. On the door, there was a bumper sticker that said, you know, and the guy, the family that ran the store, they were really conservative, religious kind of people. But I believe the guy had been in the Korean War. My understanding, I think he was a pilot then, because he was a pilot later. But there was a bumper sticker in blaze orange, which was something you really didn't see very often back then, the blaze orange stuff. But it said, register communist, not firearms. So he was adamant about that. And he was right. You know, at the time I'm looking at this thing, it doesn't make any sense to me. I didn't know what he was talking about. Registering guns, registering communists. What the hell's a communist? I didn't know. Well, now I know. You know, now I'm aware of what's going on. But this is not some pie-in-the-sky wild figment of somebody's imagination. They have stated this repeatedly. This is exactly what they want to do, especially with your AR-15s. If they can get them out of your hands, they will do that. Then they will start working down the line. Or they're going to, you know, and plus, besides that, they're talking huge tax on guns, huge tax on ammunition, big registration fee, insurance fee that you have to pay to the government to insure your guns with them. You know, they're talking some pretty wild stuff. This isn't just more background check. That has nothing to do with, like I say, there already is a background check. You're hard pressed. You have to actually be a criminal to get one without one now. But like even to borrow a gun from somebody, or if you're even like when I'm showing somebody how to shoot and I bring them down there, if I give them a gun, hand a gun over to them, I would be breaking the law, that kind of thing. This stuff is all there. And I just hope people are paying attention. Because if they get this in, it's going to be... Well, the good thing is, like I say, there will be a massive uprising. Because people are not going to stand for it. I mean, there's a line you can't cross. And that line is very definite in the Constitution. The right to bear arms is in there for a reason. That is the reason. They are the reason. When your government becomes a tyranny, it's your last fallback position. You know, our politicians are corrupt, our courts are corrupt. It gets to the point where all you have to fall back on is that Second Amendment. And if you just let that go and you let them take your guns, you're doomed. That's all there is to it. You got to look at the fine print in these things. Don't trust what they say. They lie.